This is the KoperCrabb Podcast.
I am Cheney Crab.
Naveen Copperwise coming at you live on Twitch.
Live on Twitch. We're live on Twitch right now for the last time in the next couple of months because we are going on tour. But first,
Transcontinental World Tour.
Yes, we are going on a world tour. But first, our new album, Time Will Take Us All, comes out next Friday, March 3rd. And we have a new music video coming out this week. It's one that we shot live in Knoxville in December for a song called Darkest Day. It's a cool, kind of like just banging metal song. So I'm excited for people to hear that. But yeah, we're going on tour. So I'm going to read off the dates since this will be the last podcast that we're going to do in the foreseeable future. First, we are hitting Europe and the UK. First, we're hitting Europe and the UK. March 3rd in Essen, Germany at Turek. The 4th, Nijmegen, Netherlands. If you haven't grabbed a ticket to that, you're out of luck because it is sold out. March 5th, Brussels, Belgium. March 6th, Bristol. The 7th in Glasgow. Glasgow. The 8th in Nottingham. The 9th in Dublin. 10th in Manchester. That show is almost sold out. The 11th in London. That show is almost sold out as well. The 12th in Paris, France. 13th in Lyon. 15th Madrid. 16th Barcelona. 17th Montpellier, France. The 18th we're playing Aarau, Switzerland.
Oh, we're playing there again? That place is sick.
That place rules. Dude, backstage, they have a beer tap for all of the bands. So
they have a tap and a Keurig right next to each other.
And a Keurig. And they also have awesome postcards. I still have some from the last time that we played there. The 19th, March 19th, we're playing in Milan. The 20th in München. 21st, Vienna. 22nd, Košice. I don't know how to pronounce it. Slovakia.
Damn.
The 23rd, Budapest. 24th, Prague. 25th, Warsaw, Poland. 26th, Berlin. 28th, Gothenburg. 29th, Stockholm. There we go. The 30th in Fredericia, Denmark. Fredericia. No, that's probably not how you say it. The 31st in Hanover. That's where the tour ends. Then we are coming back to the States. Naveen and I get to hang out at home for about 10 days.
Good.
And then we're hitting, did I even say who that tour was with? It's with Archspire and Psychroptic and Benighted. And that's going to rip. I'm so excited for that. And then we come back to the States. We get to hang out for 10 days and we start a U.S. tour. That is with Whitechapel, Archspire, and Signs of the Swarm. The 14th of April, we're playing Atlanta. The 15th, Tampa. 16th, Fort Lauderdale. 18th, Charlotte. 19th, Richmond. 20th, Baltimore. 21st, New York, Warsaw. I think that's actually in Brooklyn. The 22nd, Worcester. 24th, Detroit. 25th, Chicago. 27th. The 26th, we're playing Des Moines, Iowa. That's my hometown. It's going to be tight. 27th, Lawrence, Kansas. 28th, Denver. 29th, Salt Lake City. Into May. The 1st, we're in Seattle. The 2nd in Portland. 4th, Sacramento. 5th, Los Angeles. 6th, Santa Ana. 7th, Mesa. 9th, Austin. 10th, Dallas. 11th, 11th is in fucking Little Rock. Sorry, I didn't write that on here. The 12th in St. Louis and the 13th, we're ending in Nashville. That's a lot of fucking dates that we're about to play.
Now after that.
All right, then we're going down to South America. Then we're going on over to New Zealand.
That's going to be a good time. I'm looking forward to it.
Man, I'm so excited. We leave for that next Thursday. The band gets here on Saturday, so.
You know what people don't really realize is all the stress about touring, it all happens before the tour.
Yeah, it's weeks
Once
before.
the tour starts, it's nothing I can do. I'm on tour.
You're just in it. Especially, getting ready for a European tour is always enlightening because you think about how many things Europeans and people from other countries have to go through to get to every US tour. Whereas it's so much stuff to deal with. I think they have to go through more. They do have to go through more because they have to get work visas. So it makes me very grateful, for that.
A new appreciation.
It's a new appreciation. Yeah, it's crazy the stuff they go through to get over here. So whenever you see a band come over from overseas to the States, buy their merch, support them, get there early for their set because they've gone through a lot of shit to get here and to be touring the US. And it's a feat to do that.
And a lot of money.
And it's a lot of money. So, Naveen and I have been spending kind of a lot of our time preparing for the tour. And now I finally feel like we're kind of at the point.
I think we're there. I think we're almost ready to go.
Yeah, where we get to chill. The band gets here this weekend, and that's going to be...
I'm really looking forward to it.
Me too. I love hanging with those guys. And I'm excited. The music video we're putting out on Thursday has Brian James and Rob Brown in it, who have been playing guitar with us for the last entire year, ever since we came back from the COVID break of not touring.
Yeah, since the Tech Trek tour. I guess that'll be about a year.
Yeah, it's about a year.
Wow.
And touring with those guys is so fun. I mean, they just I love playing live with those guys.
Great
it's
guys.
Awesome.
And they're really great. Fun to hang out with, and the vibes have been really good.
Yeah, the vibes have been great. So I'm excited. Rob's never been to Europe, and I'm excited to take him to Europe for the first time. It's going to be amazing and hilarious to see him over there. So
he's a funny guy.
Yeah, he is.
So it's going to be interesting to see him in Europe.
I wish that we had enough time. It's like we always, anytime that we're practicing, if a podcast day falls on a practice day, it's like we always kind of have to prioritize practice over the podcast. So
we don't ever give ourselves enough time.
Yeah, to have them on it, because I would love to have Brian and Rob on it. But, Rob lives in Las Vegas and Brian lives in Sacramento. So we're flying them out to play shows with us. So we're operating under a limited amount of time.
100%.
So this is going to be the last podcast that we do until probably the end of May. So we thought...
You don't think we'll do one on that little break?
Oh yeah, maybe we'll do one on the break. That would be cool. It would be awesome if we could muster up the time to do a little voice memo one in Europe.
Yeah.
But
no guarantees.
No guarantees. If we're being honest, it's tiring being on tour. It's a lot of work. We sell our own merch. We set up stuff. There's not a lot of free time all the time. So
there's not like roadies and stuff like that.
Yeah, no. It was cool. We saw Drab Majesty live and they roadied for themselves, but they dress up during the live show. So no one knew that they were roadieing for themselves. And then they just went and dressed up.
Covert.
By roadieing, I mean they set up their own gear and did their own thing. And then they went and changed. They were very covert.
Definitely covert. But on this episode, we have our album coming out next week.
Yeah.
Which we've been hyping up on the show since the show started.
3 years and counting.
And it's finally coming out.
Yeah.
I can't believe the day's here. It's funny when you turn in your album to a label, they tell you when it's going to come out. And I remember them telling me March 3rd, 2023, and I'm just like, that's never. It's just never going to happen.
I feel like we were both kind of heartbroken because we were
taken aback.
We were given the option to put the album out. I think they said November, but it wouldn't come out simultaneously with vinyl.
Oh yeah.
So because the vinyl plants are taking forever for whatever reason, and we wanted the vinyl to come out at the same time as the music was released. We didn't want it to just be pre-orders forever. So we chose March 3rd.
It worked out a lot better too, because now we didn't know this. We did not know this at the time, but we got these tours lined up and they line up perfectly with the release. So I think it's better to be on tour right when the album comes out rather than, it came out 3 months ago and now we're on tour.
I agree.
Or 4 months or whatever that is.
I agree. And I think that, though it did seem like a long time at the time when Metal Blade first told us what the available dates were, after all of the preparation that it takes to get ready for an album, because you sort of underestimate it, and it had been 5 years since we had put out an album. So, you know, if you're not doing something like super consistently, then you sort of lose track of all of the moving parts of what it takes to put something out. So it seemed like a long time at the time, but we had a ton of stuff that we had to do. And I feel like we've been busy up until now, and even we'll still be busy next week, like preparing for it.
Yeah, absolutely,
you know?
Absolutely. So, and we wanted to do. It gave us time to do all these videos.
Yeah,
we had the Whitechapel show that we did the live video.
That's something that we weren't going to do had we released it in November, because we've put out 3 music videos already.
Yeah, and we wanted to do a slower release where we release a song each month for an extended period of time. Mm-hmm. So, I like the way we did it. I think we made the right choice.
I do too. And I'm excited for, you know, after the album comes out and to start putting out live videos of the songs that weren't singles, maybe using other songs as singles, because there are songs on the record. Like, I think that the most prog songs are not singles.
Yeah.
And those are songs that I would really like to see some sort of like visual accompaniment to them.
I agree with that.
Because the entire album, you know, we've said this in all of our announcements, but if you don't know, the whole album plays together as one piece.
That's
what
good.
Happened?
That's not good.
Oh, there we go. Sorry, the camera faded
Here,
out.
go back.
Your camera.
Is it back on?
Oh no, it's off. Sorry guys, we just had the camera die.
TDs.
Technical difficulty.
Here, Jenny, go ahead and keep talking. I'll try to fix this real quick.
Yeah, so the entire album, are we still live on Twitch?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so the entire album flows together as one entire piece. So a lot of the ideas that we had for it, like, there we go. A lot of the ideas that we had for it along the way, we would have loved if we had a budget to make like a video for the entire record.
A movie
For the entire album. And I definitely still see that as a goal in the future, if not for this album, then for another album, because that type of stuff is awesome. And I think that it would be so cool. But we do have some cool things that we're going to do. Can we talk about your Meinl video?
Yeah, of course.
So in a couple of weeks, do you know what day it's being released?
We haven't talked about it, but sometime shortly after the release, I played the first half of the album, which flows together at a studio, and it's going to come out under the Meinl channel.
I'm so excited for that to come out. Yeah, that's an all drum thing. There aren't vocals in it, but
so that's going to be really cool.
I think it would be cool to do like you know, an entire like rent out a place and do an entire like performance video of the entire album. That's a goal. Yeah, we want to play it all live.
Yep, we want to do that too. That's our goal, to close out the album cycle by playing the whole album live.
Yeah, that would be super awesome.
How long is it? 40 minutes?
It's like 43 minutes.
Doesn't seem that long.
Yeah. But if you guys haven't, you know, people ask, I talked about this last week. We didn't put the podcast up from last week, but people will ask me like where is better, where they can support us by buying the album that will benefit us in the most possible way. And that is, do buy it through Metal Blade. There's not it's not an us versus Metal Blade, like the label is evil, they're taking money thing. We want all of our stuff is available through Metal Blade. I believe it's on Indie Merch and Kings Road. Indie Merch in the US, Kings Road in Europe. There's another one for the UK. But buy it through there.
I think Kings Road is UK.
Perhaps. Yeah, you might be right.
Anyway.
But anyway, no matter where you buy the album from, it helps the band out. If you listen to it on any platform, whether it be Bandcamp, we have it on Bandcamp. Spotify helps us. You know, the reality of the music industry, if you will, is that people do look at Spotify numbers. Yeah. I know that the thing is, you know, the narrative is that Spotify is evil and we shouldn't be supporting it. But if you listen to the bands that you like, people are like, when they go and look for numbers and determine what band gets on what tour and all of that stuff, they look at all of these numbers. They look at Spotify.
Yeah.
and how many albums you
YouTubes.
sell. YouTube. It's kind of a compilation of all of those things. So it does help. Bandcamp, everywhere. So wherever you can listen to it, please do next Friday when it comes out.
I suppose the album will be streaming on YouTube, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I think Metal Blade puts it up, don't they?
I've seen Metal Blade put up full album streams, so I would assume that that's what they're going to do with our album. So if you listen there, YouTube is actually the biggest music distributor in the world. So YouTube is a great place to listen to music. But yeah, go and check it out. We're really excited about it. We've been talking about it for 3 years. So Naveen wrote the entire thing.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about how you wrote it?
Yeah, so we did a short tour with Sentinels. Was one of the bands on it. And Within Destruction and Betraying the Martyrs. The tour ended early because Betraying the Martyrs trailer caught on fire. So we went home. That happened about, a week or two in or something like that?
Yeah, this was in 2019.
Yeah, this was, sorry. It's worth mentioning when this was.
Yeah, it was like 2 weeks in the summer.
So yeah, this is 2019. Their trailer lights on fire and they drop off the tour, and then we're in California. So I was like, let's just go home. At the time, we were living in Santa Cruz still. But I met the Sentinels. Was really cool. I really liked their music, and I was kind of just like feeling hyped, like I wanted to make some new music. And when I got home, I think very shortly after getting home, I wrote the first song, Absolute Zero. Mm-hmm. And then the end has like this kind of creepy melody that keeps going, and it's like a dotted note melody. I won't get too nerdy on you, but basically what I did was I kept the melody going after the song ended, and then I thought it would be kind of cool to write something in a different tempo over that same melody. And then that's how In Purgatory got started. And then so I just kind of kept rolling with it.
I gotta say, when Naveen wrote that intro to In Purgatory, that doom bum bum bum, I was like, oh fuck. All right, I love this record. It's cool because you did write it in linear fashion. Like you wrote it beginning to end. It wasn't like I'm gonna write this part and then I'm gonna write.
No. The album is basically you're hearing it as it's being written. So it's like I wrote the first song, thought it was pretty. I didn't really. I guess I didn't really consider it a song. I was just like, okay, this is cool. Like I'm gonna keep going with it. And then we got into what became In Purgatory, and that kept going. And then at the end of In Purgatory, so you guys don't know this yet, but song 3 is a continuation of how In Purgatory starts.
Yeah, so, song 3 is very close. Very like the whole record is very closely related, but song 3, which is called The Interior Wilderness, is very derivative, directly related to In Purgatory.
Yeah. So then, actually, there's a riff in that song that ends the second side.
Yeah, and also the first, so
it's in a different key.
In Purgatory has this super like high vocal part that repeats over a vocal at the beginning of The Interior Wilderness.
Yeah.
And that's super cool. So we were able to like do a lot of callbacks.
Yeah, so it was cool writing in this like open way. When I would get, 12 minutes into the song or 9 minutes in, and then it felt like it should go back to a part that had already happened, I was able to do it because I wasn't really writing with any sort of rules in mind.
Totally. And
then I kind of just couldn't really find a good place to end it. So so it's kind of more like 2 songs in my opinion. So, but what we did was we turned those into like sides of an album.
Right.
So there's clearly like a first side, and then it has an ending. Kind of a cool, epic, like rockin' outro. And then Channy and I started experimenting with what became I Am the Void.
Yeah. And the other thing is that when we were writing, when you were writing instrumentally, the reason that songs 1 through 4 are the length that they are is because we were very aware from the beginning of how much music we can put on each side of a vinyl record. So it was written accordingly because we wanted it to be a perfect end.
Yeah, we really wanted to make sure that the vinyl made sense.
Mm-hmm.
It was hard on our last album to figure out what songs went where and how to split it up.
Well, something that did happen on Dark Future is that Black Static was not supposed to be the opening track on the album.
Yeah.
It originally was not. Melancholia was the opening track on the album, and Black Static was song 5.
Okay.
Wait, no, it was Black Static and White Noise were song 5 and 6. So we had to completely flip it or it was something like that.
It was hard to get the order correct to get the time to have it split evenly.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we
just weren't as aware of that because we had never pressed vinyl before out of any of our records. So no one, people don't tell you that information that you can only fit 23 minutes on side A of a vinyl and you're not really thinking about it until you go to press it. So
yeah, we're kind of like, let's make a cool side A and side B.
Right.
And then those kind of became like songs. So then I actually had when I was writing the second side. So I wrote it to be one long song as well.
Mm-hmm.
But then I think it was like a week or two, maybe 1 week before we went to record. I was like, this kind of isn't sick enough.
The second side.
Yeah.
So the entire second side was generally different. Did it still start with I Am the Void? And it didn't.
It didn't start with I Am the Void.
We didn't put I Am the Void on the album until like a week before we went to track
later,
drums. Because we had both, there is a whole second side that no one is, there are a few aspects of that side that ended up on the actual album.
A lot of it did. I kind of just revamped it and then made it a little more, it was too mellow in my opinion.
It was too mellow. It was a little too like, it didn't have as many like hard hitting moments as it has now. It was good. And maybe we'll release some of that stuff in the future on something. I mean, why the hell not?
Well, like I said, a lot of it did make it onto the second side.
That's true.
It just like is revamped, like it's faster or a little bit heavier or something like that.
Yeah, a lot of it. I believe that like the last track, "Time Will Take Us All," the beginning of that, because it starts out with like an acoustic part, and I think it was earlier in side B.
Yeah, I'd have to like go back and listen.
I know. I would actually really like to hear that now that we're talking about it.
So we I had been working on the second side and it was going good. It was going great. But then we were thinking, what if we used this rock song that I wrote? I wrote that that song is when I wrote a couple of more rock sounding songs. One of them became the intro to the podcast.
Yep.
And then this was another one that I had written. Just like, maybe we could do some kind of side project to be funny, some sort of rock thing.
I mean, that's really like during COVID, Naveen and I, it was actually a little before COVID. I think that we were both a little unhappy with the band, with ENTHEOS, and we were talking about doing a side project. And once we started, like, there's a third song that has parts that I wrote for it that are sick as fuck.
Yeah.
But when we started talking about it, we were like, this is like so close to ENTHEOS. Why would we start a whole nother project to do this stuff under when it still
let's just make it
has the general sound? Let's just try to bring it in and incorporate it. And the song that we chose to use from those three is I Am the Void.
Yeah.
And now I see us doing more of that in the future. We're never going to go like all grunge. We're always going to be a progressive band that has like or rock, post-rock, whatever you refer to that as. But we're always going to be like this multi-dimensional band. So definitely. I think that releasing I Am the Void to me has opened that door for us. And that for me is super important to feel like completely artistically fulfilled, to be able to do things like that in our band. So I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, and I think we've always established ourselves as being a little bit weirder and doing whatever we want.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we were experimenting with that song, and then I figured out that the way that it ends with this like dissonant chord fit into how I was starting the second side of the album.
Yeah.
Something like that. It might not be exactly true what I'm saying, but it's along those lines. Because I remember I only had like 5 days, and I was like, I'm gonna whip this thing into shape, man. Fuck it. And I'm glad I did, because it came out way sick.
Oh my God.
Different.
And Thursday, so the song that we're releasing on Thursday, the 23rd, is the song that comes directly after I Am the Void.
Yeah.
Darkest Day. So you'll see there kind of like more of the direction that we took on this side of the record. It gets heavier even after Darkest Day. So
yeah, the singles are Absolute Zero and In Purgatory go into each other. And then there's 2 other songs. Then there's sort of like a noisy, scary, spooky in-between track. Mm-hmm. And then it goes, I Am the Void, Darkest Day, and then there's...
Clarity and Waves.
How many more songs after that? Like
there are 3 more songs
3.
After that, yep. Clarity and Waves.
I just don't think of it as songs for me.
Sinking Sun and Time Will Take Us All. Yeah, it's interesting. I think that it did turn out that the songs work really well individually, which, you know, once we took a step back, because we didn't pick tracks. Naveen had a general idea for where the track markers would be, but we didn't pick tracks until the entire thing was written. I think drums were done.
We were way beyond that.
Yeah.
We were like end of the album, like, all right, let's figure out where the tracks are.
Yeah. So to me, there are clear dynamic shifts where it's like, obviously, this is the beginning of a song, this is the end of a song. And now I think of them as songs, because for a while I was only listening to them in like Google Drive. So they're all individual tracks.
Okay.
So they will stop and I have to like switch it. But if you play it, I think it's best experienced as one piece altogether, which was the intention behind it all. You know, it's got like... It starts off super heavy and it goes into like some proggy atmospheric areas and singing with I'm the Void, and then it gets super heavy and ends on a track. We did a lot of, I feel like we like experimented on the record, but it also sounds like our band.
And I think there was also a clear intention to make it a little more heavy.
There was. Yeah.
And I was like, I want to do all this progressive stuff and go into that weird trippy realm, but I feel like I didn't want to abandon being heavy. And sometimes I feel like on Dark Future, we didn't make it heavy enough.
I agree.
So there's like, you know, tons of breakdowns and really heavy stuff. It's got like the fastest death metal parts that we've ever had.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of them. I mean, most of the fast parts in this album are faster than anything we've ever done.
Definitely. Yeah, they definitely hit that spot. I agree with you. We did make a conscious effort to add some like get a little heavier with the record. We both wanted to do that. Like I remember having that conversation on that tour, maybe the Betraying the Martyrs tour.
Like, let's make some heavy shit. What are we doing?
Yeah, I called you over. I was setting up merch and I was just like, Naveen, we need to make some like heavy music.
Yeah.
So we did lean more in that direction, but like I said, there's a lot of prog. There is singing that you guys haven't heard. It's not like I Am the Void is the most singy and rock that it goes, but
yeah, there's some other cool singy parts. Yeah,
there's a lot of pitched screaming. There's a lot of stuff that I'm really proud. I'm really, really proud of the album in general. And so yeah, you finished doing it. We tracked drums for it 3 years ago with Zach Oren.
I know. So, yeah, as we're writing the album and getting it ready, then the whole pandemic thing happened.
Well, and Travis was still in the band when we started writing the record.
That's true.
Travis left the band, so the pandemic happened.
Actually, hold on. It's worth mentioning that I wrote that first half of the album, and then didn't write anything else. We actually wrote some other songs. We wrote
Remember You're Dust.
Remember You're Dust. We wrote another song that never came out. So we were still kind of experimenting in like what we wanted to do. We weren't really like 100% in any direction.
Oh no.
We were like, okay, we've got that cool long song. We could put that out.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really know what to do with it. It was like 20 minutes long. And I was like, it's not really long enough to be an album. And it's kind of, maybe it could be an EP that we could release at some point.
We did.
I didn't think of making, that could be side one. We'll make a side two.
Yeah, that didn't come for a while. But I think we were throwing around doing it as an EP and releasing it independently for a while.
Yeah. So,
but the pandemic just came and kind of flipped everything. But Remember You're Dust. So like you said, you wrote the first half as a demo, not completely fleshed out, but you wrote it. And then,
the skeleton was there.
Yeah. And then Travis quit the band. And then you and I wrote Remember You're Dust in like a weekend because we were going to release it for a tour that we were going to go on.
That's right.
Then that tour got canceled.
Yeah. We were going on a tour, Tech Trek.
Right. Yeah.
And we were like, hey, let's make like just a more hype kind of fun song to play live and we can put it out and it would be like a release to have before the tour because it's been a while since we put anything out.
Yeah.
So that's why we made that. And then, of course, the tour got canceled and, all the other stuff.
Yeah, the whole Corona thing happened. And we honestly took some time off.
Yeah, so then we kind of just were like, hey, let's not pay attention to the band for a while. And just.
We also did have, even before you wrote this first part, there were like 4 or 5 songs that we had been working on. There was another song that we were going to release that we had Jacob Umansky play bass on and Travis played guitar on right before he quit the band that we haven't put out. We listened to it actually a few weeks ago and we were like, maybe we could use some of this, but yeah, so we experimented with a lot of stuff for a while and the first part of Time Will Take Us All is what ended up sticking. And after we took some months off for the pandemic, then the next year is when we tracked drums. But Naveen had written the entire second part that we were just talking about. We weren't quite sure who was going to play bass on the album. It was maybe going to just be you playing bass. We hadn't really figured that out. So there was like a lot of stuff up in the air in 2020.
Yeah.
And we weren't signed to a label. We just didn't really know what to do. But there was a day where we were like in our kitchen in Santa Cruz and we started talking about, okay, here's what we should do with the band. It's just the two of us.
Right.
So let's we started talking about like conceptually the art and where we wanted the direction of where we wanted the band to go and the music. And all of it started coming together that we should use the stuff that you had written for the beginning of the album.
Yeah, we kind of decided there all the details about the band and made said it out loud, so we knew what we wanted to go for and what we wanted everything to look like and sound like, and we've kind of stuck to it. And I think it's worked because a lot of people have affirmed the stuff that we talked about. Like, oh, it's really cool that they just get it. I can see like even in the YouTube comments, people will just get little musical things that I did on purpose. Yeah.
I've even noticed people like in interviews that I've been doing for the album, they're noticing little things and it seems like people are getting it, which is cool and reaffirming. It's an exciting thing because like when you're putting an album out into the world, you never necessarily, what you are going for, but you never necessarily know how people are going to receive it. So at least with the first, wave of people who have listened to it, it's been exciting to hear what they've said. And I feel like, maybe in the past people didn't totally do that, like reaffirm things to me, but it's been really cool to see so far. So I'm excited to see how people receive all of that stuff of it. But so actually after we tracked drums, we originally were going to have someone else play bass on the album. It wasn't going to be Evan on the album.
Right.
So that kind of came along.
Because of scooter accident.
Yeah, I got in a scooter accident. So we tracked drums that year. Naveen, guitars were pretty much done. Solos were not done. And we started... Oh, we signed to Metal Blade first, actually. So
that was another thing we talked about that night in the kitchen. We're like, should we be on a label? And then if so, which label?
Right.
And so I think it was cool to do that because we sort of decided everything about the band, like what we wanted it to be.
Yeah.
Instead of just kind of floating around.
Totally. I knew exactly who I wanted to do art. I knew who I wanted to do our videos. You know, I named Eleron. That's who I like was a fan of his, and I brought him to Naveen. This is who I want to do our art. This is the general direction that I see that stuff going. David Brodsky, I was a huge fan of, showed that to Naveen. This is where, you know, all the visual stuff aligns with the lyrics. So it makes sense that I'm the person presenting this stuff in the band. And that's what all the t-shirt designs, everything like that. I oversee it all because I want it all to match the theme of the band. I want everything to be thematically in line as far as our band goes. And that was something that we really focused on and that we talked about that night in the kitchen that we wanted to do. So all of that stuff really came together from that.
Yep. And like that, we were going to do video clips and stuff like that for the internet.
Yeah.
Which just really helped us out.
Totally.
Like, let's get some better cameras and make things more pro. So I think it does help to sort of map out all the stuff that you want people to get.
Totally. You have to understand it before, like, no one's going to get what you're doing if you don't understand what you're doing.
Yeah.
So that was really something that we had a heart to heart about. And signing to Metal Blade made the most sense to us. Naveen, Flesh Rot came out through Metal Blade. You had a good experience with them. We looked at every label that we would want to be signed to, and we just looked at the bands that were signed to each label.
And we're like, which bands do we want to be aligned with?
Exactly. Or which bands do we see as, like, you know, our contemporaries, or who we see them as being like progressive and all, you know, having the attributes of our band. And Metal Blade had those bands for us. So we went for it. That was the label we wanted to sign to. We had other offers, but we were like, let's go with Metal Blade.
Yeah, I think we had it in our mind that we just wanted to sign to Metal Blade.
Yeah. And the two songs that we sent to them were Absolute Zero and I Am the Void. So that is all that they heard.
And they were like, get me ENTHEOS. Who is this band? I need him.
Right now. We need to talk to him. They saw that Howie Mandel share or whatever. They saw the TikTok.
Yeah. So this was before Chaney went viral.
Oh, yeah. Was it?
Yeah.
No, actually, we had just gone viral. We did that dying fetus video. We did the dying fetus video like right when we were talking to Metal Blade.
All right.
But yeah, so.
Tight.
So yeah, we chose to sign to Metal Blade.
Yeah, and then I think we decided, all right, let's make a second half to that sick first half that we have. Let's make that into an album. It'll just be me and you, and we'll get someone to play bass.
Yep.
We went and I wrote the second half. We went and what I did was I booked a recording session to do the drums with Zach Oren.
Right.
Before the second half was even written.
Right.
And I was like, all right, this will give me a deadline. I have to write it now. And so, I was writing it, then decided that I didn't really like it that much. Like 5 days before the session, I just like powered through and just wrote like a whole new second side basically and utilized a bunch of stuff from it. And then I said, hey, let's use this rock song to start it. That would be really sick. And then Chaney was down. So then we recorded the drums. We had the drums done for a long time. I did the guitars, blah, blah, blah. And we started working on the vocals.
Yes. So the night it was like one of the first nights that we started working on the vocals. And the part that we were working on specifically that made us want to go celebrate the night of the scooter accident is from the third song, The Interior Wilderness. It's the end. It's a vocoder part. You guys will know it next week when you hear it. We were so excited about this part because it was just like, we
were like, this is so sick.
Yeah, we were like, oh my God,
like
we
Top
did it. And I can't remember if you had started writing the little guitar lead.
Yeah, the lead thing.
Yeah. Okay. So we were kind of, because we were writing that together. We wrote the vocal melody the same day and recorded it the same day that you were doing the Top Gun guitar part. So we were kind of going back and forth on that. We were so stoked. We're like, let's go out and celebrate. So we rode our scooters down to Capitola Village. And on the way home, I got into the scooter accident, the infamous scooter accident. Yeah.
We've already covered that a bunch.
We've covered it a million times. You guys know what happened.
So that definitely slowed things down a bit.
Split open my lip, my nose. I couldn't really do vocals well. This happened in August. I don't think I started recording again until December.
Yeah, so I did actually think of something, and that is we did ask Evan if he could play on the album, but he was remodeling his house.
Right.
And he was like, I just don't have time to do it right now.
Yeah.
Because I told him when it needed to be done. We had an original timeline, which we wanted to be done. But now that you got in this scooter accident and you were kind of out of commission, I was like, hey, Evan, it just so happens that we have a bunch more time.
Yeah.
And then it got to be the point where he was like, okay, well, that could work.
Right.
And so that's how he ended up getting involved again.
Yeah. Which, I mean, the stuff that he brought on the record, there's some fretless parts on the record. Evan is a king of melody and his melodic sense is incredible.
Yeah. So he added a bunch of
really cool stuff to the album. And I'm glad that we got him to play on it. So,
yes, that was great.
That was great. And, God, I was just going to say something because something happened before that. But yeah, so I got in the accident. Oh, I had already asked Elleron, and I sent Elleron the concept. Like the art is completely based off of a concept I had. I told him that I wanted, 2 heads in the shape of kingdoms, castles that were crumbling with a staircase. The freaking camera went off again.
It's this cable. Just keep talking.
Yeah, with a staircase going through the middle and eyes and clocks melting on the cover. And I told him the colors, red and blacks and golds and whites. And he came up with the idea to have the clock and the eye together as one, like floating through the cover. So it was like a week after the accident, and it was a super emotional time for me, the accident. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do vocals at all, because when you're that deep in something like that and your injuries are that severe, you have no fucking idea how they're going to heal.
Yeah.
So about a week, maybe 2 weeks into this accident, we got the first sketch of the album cover from Elleron, and I cried. I was just like, I can't believe for the first time I'm seeing a piece of art. Like in the past, we've had to kind of critique the album covers a million times and like change things and figure stuff out. And for the first time, I just felt like from the first moment I laid eyes on the art, I knew that it was the right art for the album. So that was super exciting, and I cried, and that happened. And then, I continued to heal. The lyrics changed a lot. I wrote a lot while I was out of commission from doing vocals. Evan did bass. And I started recording again in December, which was right before we moved.
Right. So then that came into the picture.
Right. So that...
We kind of abruptly decided to move to Nashville.
Yeah, we decided to move in September.
Yeah.
So it was a little after the accident.
So we were like, all right, we're going to move in September. We want to leave, go somewhere cheaper, focus on music full time. And we moved in December, at the end of December.
Yeah.
We basically skipped out on Christmas.
We skipped out on Christmas and New Year's.
Which was, I'd say it was the best Christmas ever.
It really was. We got to our house on the 23rd of December. And then for Christmas, we went to an Indian restaurant downtown and met a family of tourists who were decked out in Buc-ee's gear, and
I was like, dude, Buc-ee's, and I was wearing Buc-ee's socks. I was like, check this out.
Yeah, it was hella fun. So that kind of, we took a little time off from the album at that point, and we already had Mark Lewis, like we knew that he was going to mix the record, but he couldn't even do it when we weren't going. We wanted him to mix it in January, and that just was not going to work out with his schedule. So we knew that we could take a little time off, get moved in. Our house was not finished. We did not finish Naveen's control room where I tracked the rest of the album. We didn't finish that.
That was also a thing. Me and Evan built a studio in the house, so that took up a bunch of time.
Right.
But I think we would periodically track vocals in the middle of that.
We would. That's kind of how the vocal tracking process goes for us generally, but
one line a day at max.
Sometimes it is that. I don't force vocals out of myself, and that's why.
No, definitely not.
I definitely don't. Really, it's the lyrics. The lyrics take forever because I'm like constantly combing over them and, trying to make them more concise and figuring them out. So that takes forever. I change lyrics and not to the point to parts to the point that Naveen wants to kill me by the time we're done tracking. But so it was like me tracking a vocal part, doing changing a lyric, doing that over and over for like 3 months. So for me, it becomes like a super painstaking analytical process where I'm just working through stuff forever. I wouldn't go out and hang out for a long time. I was just like in our house the whole time.
And then I would add do the end of. At the end, I came in and did like little layers with guitar and some synth stuff here and there.
Yeah.
And made that noisy track for the in-between.
Right.
That was another thing that I kind of focused on about this album. I didn't really want to do too much layering and stuff until after the vocals were like done.
Right.
So it didn't get in the way.
Yeah, because I think in the past there's been layering and stuff that's happened before I've come in to do vocals, and then it's kind of like, well, there's like a lead here. Yeah.
Too much like competing for the
main attraction.
Spotlight.
Yeah.
Not the spotlight, but the focus of the part.
So that was a huge aspect of writing this album for us, was that we wanted to make vocals more of a focal point, as they should be. We wanted to think about them a lot when Naveen was writing. We wanted to make sure that they had room to breathe, that there weren't solos at weird times, that everything seemed appropriate, like the way that we put it together. We just really wanted to focus on the album being, as a whole. Yeah, as a whole, and how it sounded. And so that was like a huge focus of ours in writing it.
Yeah, so I didn't even I think there was there's parts that I write where I'm like, this definitely has to have a solo. Mm-hmm. But then I think there were also parts where you're like, I don't know, I can't really think of a vocal part here, do a solo. And I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, sometimes it just makes more sense. I just get, if I have an intuition for like, I don't think this is a vocal part.
And I was like, cool, sneak a solo in there.
Yeah, there are parts that became melodic. Oh, there was also a part so at the beginning of Oblivion, which is the 4th track, Evan, there's a fretless bass part that kind of bounces back and forth with melodic vocals, and Evan and I were able to, my singing part, Evan then went in and worked on a part that followed the melody of the singing. So we did a lot of stuff like that where the instrumentals really complemented the vocals in a way that they haven't as much before, in my opinion. But of course that's left up for interpretation.
Just definitely stuff to be aware of. I think we just wanted to be aware of everything. What's going on in this part? Or, when I was writing, I was like, I need to think of if this would be cool to do vocals over or not.
Yeah.
Instead of just writing whatever I thought was cool.
Right.
I'm like, okay, I got a 6 screamer here. Let me I'll write some parts that I think would be fun to scream over if I was a screamer.
Yeah. I mean, you do have to think about that. That's the difference between writing as a solo artist and as a band. When you're writing as a band, the key is to learn to work together and write music together and not have it be specifically any person's solo project. So
that's why I don't write in a band, because I don't like motherfuckers telling me what to do.
There were some parts though, that part I was just talking about in Oblivion. I was like, dude, I have a melodic idea here. You need to make the part way longer so that I can do something, because sometimes in the demo stages of our music, parts will be super short and then turn around really quickly, and it's not enough time for me to build on an idea.
So that happened quite a bit.
Yeah.
Where we were like, okay, this part needs to go twice as long.
Right.
Like a bunch of times.
Yeah, which is the benefit of Naveen also being an engineer, is that we can change parts. You know how to freak the drums, even if they're already recorded. We can add more of that. We can add more of whatever.
Well, that definitely happened even after, I think some of them we caught in the demo stages and some of them we made a lot longer, like after the drums were already tracked.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, which...
And then, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, to wrap it up, we were on Tech Trek, and that's when Mark really got going with the mixes.
Yeah,
I think we made sure to finish everything. It was like a deadline. We got to finish literally everything, and we rolled by his house on the way to tour.
Yeah,
I
literally.
gave him a thumb drive with like the remaining files that he needed.
Literally.
Yeah.
So a lot of the mixes that we got were during Tech Trek. So I remember specifically that last Vancouver show. I was walking around just like on nice headphones, listening to every aspect of the album.
Yeah.
Brian helped us with input on the guitar tone. We let them hear the mixes and help us freak things in that stage. And then when we got home, Naveen and I both went over to Mark's house because Mark lives down the street from us. So we went over and bothered him like a million times.
Because I was like, instead of sending like an email with all these, I was like, dude, because that was another thing. I was like, we have time. I'm not going to bother you with email and stuff on tour. I'll just make my notes and come over when we get back.
Yeah.
And I went over there for like one whole day.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I showed him everything that needed to be done. Because that would have been like 1,000 emails.
Yeah. So it's much easier to do that. I'm
Way
glad
better.
that we have that. It's definitely beneficial.
So
and I look
better.
forward to being home, hopefully, for more of the mixing process on our next album and being able to do that more. But honestly, this is the best mix that we've ever had on a record. I'm so excited about it. I think that what I love about Mark's mixing is that he truly cares about the band sounding like the band, taking a band and making them sound like the best version of themselves. It's not about like a canned production.
Yeah.
Needs to sound like this. He's trying to literally bring out the best in the band. And I think that that's really important in our band. And it's been an important, integral part of our sound in the past. And I think that he was able to do that even more so on this album. And I'm just really proud I really love the mix. I love how everything kind of came together in the end. And overall, I mean, I really think that this is our best effort to date. And I know that that's typical of people to say, but I really think that we took all of the things that are ENTHEOS and we really kept that in mind. Because, at the end of the day, ENTHEOS does sound like the two of us writing together. It's always been a great deal of Naveen's influence, and obviously a lot of my influence. So I think that we were able to kind of trim the fat off certain things and experiment in certain ways and never really lose the soul of our band. And I'm really, really proud of the album that we were able to make. And I can't wait for people to hear it. That's we're going to be in Europe and I can't believe it. I just can't believe people are going to hear it. Yeah.
100% agree. And we got vinyls already.
We do have vinyls. They're super sick. We told ourselves we'd bring one in here. Harrison, could you go grab the vinyl and the CD or there's one that's open, like to the right. You want the open one? The open one is like...
It's on the floor.
On the floor, yeah. Could you grab the CD too?
There we go.
We got some super sick records.
Super sick.
Hopefully this is not the limited edition one.
Limited edition.
It might be.
So what?
F it. Yeah. Nope, it's not. All right. So this.
Oh, look at that.
Red and gold. That's for sale in the States.
I mean, that's perfect because
I love that.
Red and gold. So.
Because the album's red and gold. So Naveen and I picked out all of these colors. We
It was a long process.
It was a long, painstaking, meticulous process of us. Like, look at that.
That's a pretty cool combo.
I love
must
that.
Say. I
it's
like
kind of perfect. So there are 3 other variants. If you guys buy these, maybe we can do more variants in the future. That's how that goes. Here's the art by Eleron. Check that out. Super awesome. Also, we just got wall flags in of this. These are available. Yeah. So, like I said, the records are all up. Go through Metal Blade for those. If you want actual album art merch, we are sending that from ENTHEOSstore.com. That's the store that I run. So if you write notes in there, I read everything. If you ask us to sign something, we've been signing wall flags all week. We'll sign whatever you want. But we can't sign the records. I think that on our next album, we will figure out a way to do signed copies. Yeah. So here's the full artwork. Whoops.
Maybe we would just go to Metal Blade.
Yeah. Just go there.
Sign a bunch.
So there's the full artwork.
It looks so cool. Just as the album is kind of like a side A and a side B of a full experience, I feel like the artwork is too. It's like the front and the back.
Yeah.
They're 2 different pieces.
And, I want...
really cool.
What I think is so awesome about this artwork and that I love about Eleron's work and just surrealism in general and him working on surrealism is that it's open for interpretation.
Yeah.
The cover means to you whatever it means to you. I'm not gonna, the overall lyrical concept is it's about growth and progression and reflection and, existence in our lives, but I don't want to go in and tell you guys exactly what every single lyric is about because I want you to come up with your own story. But I do strongly encourage you to go through and read the lyrics because they're super important and integral to the story of Time Will Take Us All. That's something that's important in our band. And so, yeah, if you get the chance, please go through, read the lyrics while you're listening to the record. But yeah.
Harrison, do we have any questions? We put the feelers out there for some album questions. Shane, you got to put that asleep.
Oh yeah, sorry, I never do this correctly. Naveen's brother almost shot me over the way that I put away vinyl records. He's like, "Can I please show you how to do this?"
He didn't do a good job. Yeah, he didn't do a good job showing.
Not a good teacher.
Other side, babe.
That's so funny. Oh wait, hold on. I want to show the CD. So look, it's a jewel case this time, our first ever jewel case. Someone asked me about that. I guess people don't like buying digipacks.
We always thought the digipacks were way cooler. Here, give me it, Shani.
Yeah.
Show you guys.
We did think digipacks were way cooler, but apparently not.
There you go. That's what I'm
Look at that.
About.
That's Oh, you had it. Oh, look at that. Damn, that's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. With that Metal Blade logo on it, baby. Oh, yeah.
Remember a barcode? That was like the big deal back in the day when I was a kid. Like, dude, it's got a CD with a barcode on it. That's like legit. Like you've made it if you got the barcode. And that's the disc. People still buy discs, apparently.
Yeah, I guess so. They, labels are putting their money into them. We sell discs.
It's true.
At shows.
Very true.
So, yeah. People are still collecting it. I guess they're playing it in their cars.
Yeah, weird. I always have backup CDs in my car in case something goes wrong.
There we go. Every car that we ever have, the CD player is broken. Yeah. I don't know why that happens.
The backup is silence.
The backup is silence. All right, go ahead.
All right, first question. Will is stoned. Would you guys ever consider an instrumental edition of albums or previous albums? Love Chaney's work, but also love instrumentals.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. But I know this sounds biased coming from me, but like vocals are a part of the record.
I know, but it's still cool, and it could also bump up your listeners, right?
Maybe. Where we do that is on YouTube. Like we for sure do it there. I don't actually know if we would be allowed to do that through the label.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to it. I think that it's cool for covers as well.
I think it's cool when bands do that.
Me too.
I think it's really cool.
I do. I think that
I don't ever listen to the instrumental though. I listen to the vocals one.
Same. I think that, you can further dissect the songs doing that. But you can buy like guitar tabs I think it'd be really cool to release stems.
Yeah.
I
And
mean-
of course, there's the playthroughs that we always put out
Yep.
that I'll do that are instrumental.
Yep. Absolutely. So yeah, we're not opposed to that, but I don't know if it's like contractually feasible. Actually,
I'm sure Metal Blade would be down. I feel like they'd be down.
maybe that might be something worth looking into.
Not opposed.
Me either.
I have to think about it some more though. Give it some thought.
Yeah.
Next question is Ben from Newfoundland asks, you've been touring a lot with Archspire, which is killer. How'd you guys get to know them? You all must get along quite well to continuously tour alongside them. Also, any particular favorite Archspire song?
Yeah, it's my favorite Archspire song is Drone Corpse Aviator.
I think mine's I think it's called Golden. We've already established that I'm not good with names, but
Golden Mouth of Ruin.
Yeah,
Golden
that song
Mouth of Ruin.
fucking rips.
Oh yeah.
We didn't really know them very well.
We didn't know them at all.
They just asked us to do the Tech Trek tour, and
Well, they asked us to do, originally we were going to do Tech Trek Canada with them in 2020 with Surreption and Wormhole. So they asked us to do that, and we met them briefly.
yeah, we didn't really know them very well.
We met them at like a Rivers of Nile show.
And then we did the Tech Trek tour. That was really good. And then they offered to take us to Europe. And then the tour that we're doing after that with them as well with Whitechapel, I think Whitechapel asked us to do that tour. So that one was just kind of circumstantial.
That's a coincidence.
Yeah.
That was totally coincidence, but honestly, love those guys. I'm
Yeah, they're really
stoked to tour. They're great dudes.
And you know what? It's really cool. This happens a lot. One band will kind of pick up a smaller band and sort of like take them around on a bunch of tours. I mean, like Between the Buried and Me did it with Animals as leaders. They toured a bunch together. There's plenty of examples where a bigger band will just take a band on a bunch of tours and really help them out. And I feel like Archspire is doing that with us. You know,
Yeah.
There's some talks to do some other parts of the world together here. I mean, just vaguely that we've kind of talked about it, and hopefully it happens.
Yeah, we're really grateful to Archspire because they've definitely helped. They have a different fan base than we have. They've opened us up to their fan base. They've welcomed. We're great, very grateful to them for helping us out, and
Right.
love those guys.
And like the Tech Trek tour that we got to do, I'm sure that tour would have been really great even without us on it. And
Totally.
So they were generous enough to put us on that tour and put us high up in the lineup. And so it's just like, I think that tour really helped us out.
Yeah, me too. And that was
yeah.
really kind of them to think of us and to continue to think of us. And
Yeah.
I'm so excited to go and hang out with those guys. I fucking love those guys. Like,
Yeah.
They've worked really hard to get where they're at. They deserve every fucking piece of anything they get. So I'm stoked for them and can't wait to go and travel. I'm so excited to drink some beers in Europe with those guys. It'll be fun.
You gonna drink beers here?
Probably not, but I guess it's just a saying I use now.
All right.
I'm just I'm excited to drink some lemon waters in Europe with them.
There we go.
I actually have a small follow-up question about that. So you said that they asked you to go on tour with them. Were they fans of you guys beforehand?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, they knew who we were, but
Yeah.
I don't know if they're like fans or not.
Maybe they
were
are.
Like,
Maybe they are. I don't know.
it could be a combination of the music and whatever else we kind of had going on online. Like,
They seem to be down.
they seem to be down though.
Yeah. They also knew Brian because
they knew Brian.
they didn't, that wasn't a part of us getting on the tour, but they knew Brian before because
From
they
Fallujah.
toured with Fallujah. Yeah. So, they're just, it's homie central hanging out with those guys.
It's really cool.
Amber asks, will ENTHEOS ever play a headlining set or run of shows?
Definitely. Yeah. We're starting to think now, and we will be talking about it probably more seriously later in the year about when we're going to do our first headliner.
Yeah, we really want to do it, but I think kind of similar to how we were talking about with the album, we waited long to roll it out in the correct way.
Right.
That's exactly what we want to do with a headliner. Instead of haphazardly jump the gun, or we want a headline, and then it's like a so-so tour. We want to do it and have like really sick bands on there.
Yeah.
And have it be at a time when it makes sense for us to headline.
Mm-hmm.
And we feel like people are going to actually come to the shows.
Right.
And like have a really nice, awesome headlining tour.
Yeah, I would like to do probably a few more support tours before we do a headliner, but we talk all the time about what bands we want to take. It is something that's definitely in the future and will be happening.
Definitely before we make another album.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely. Absolutely. We will do that.
Definitely.
And hopefully film it.
Yeah. All right, we got to bring a filmer.
Marshall.
That's what we should do. That's what we need to do.
A filmer? We should do that.
If we were rolling in a bandwagon, bring a film guy.
Yes. Oh, yeah, I forgot to say, so this is the first U.S. tour in a very long time that we're going to do where I'm not going to be doing merch. So everyone make sure to go and say hey to our merch person, Shannon. She's going to fucking kill it. We'll be out there. We'll be hanging out. We'll make it a point every day to come to the merch table and hang. But overall, this is going to give me a little more time to like gather my thoughts after our sets, which I'm excited.
Yeah, I know.
Very excited about. But we'll still be, I mean, you know us. We like to hang out in the crowd and say hello to everyone. So
we'll be hanging.
Yes. Abso-freaking-lutely. But in Europe,
that wasn't a question.
In Europe, I'm doing merch. I just wanted to bring it up to celebrate. I just wanted to celebrate it. In Europe, I'm still doing merch, so you can still come up and say
bonjour.
Bonjour. Just
Guten Tag or whatever.
Guten Tag. Barcelona, or is that
Hola?
Hola. Yeah, whatever. In your foreign tongue.
Ciao.
Ciao, Bella. And I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm Italian too. And then
they'll be like, no, you're not actually.
Yep.
All right. Next up is from Hay Fever. Do you think intentionally about harmony when writing, or is it mostly by ear?
Me? Or Naveen?
No. I do. I actually do the opposite. I write and then I go back and figure out what like key it's in.
Yeah, everything is by ear. I write all harmony by ear.
Yeah.
Intentionally, I mean, yes.
Sometimes
I do
I have to
write
help Channing out though with her harmonies.
That
I'll
is
be like,
true.
yeah, you're hitting the wrong note here.
That is true. But what I will say is that I wrote almost every singing part.
No, you did.
I wrote every singing part on the record.
No, for sure.
Like none of it was someone telling me what to do.
No, definitely not.
I came in with the ideas, and just sometimes like there were things that were a little like not complimenting the note in the correct way, but Naveen knew what I was going for. So he would be like, let's play that on a piano and hear what exactly sounds correct. So
exactly. But no, I mean, I do a mix of a lot of different things. Sometimes I'll just write metal riffs and I'll be like, yeah, this isn't in a key. It's just like a metal riff and it just is what it is. And then
generally those parts are not singable a lot of the time.
Yeah. But yeah, with the more melodic parts, I'll kind of, it just depends. Like if I'm having a hard time with a lead or something, then I'll go through and be like, all right, how am I perceiving this? But most of the time for leads, I'll set it up and just have like chords that are a little more open-ended so you can perceive them in different keys or different scales. But yeah, I utilize like everything I know how to do. So if I learn a scale that is cool, I'll be like, okay, I'm going to write some riffs in this scale. Like for instance, that solo that Brian was playing earlier, that's in a key called Superlocrian, and I just like picked it out of Guitar Grimoire. I was like, this is a really fucking cool scale. I'm gonna write a bunch of riffs in this key. And then other times I'll just write stuff that's I'm not thinking about what key it's in, and then I can go back and kind of figure out like, okay, well it has, a flat third and a this, and then I'll see what scales work with that.
Totally.
So I don't want to be too focused on like what key it's in and things being diatonic, because then it just doesn't really sound as creative to me. when things are overly diatonic, like always in key.
Yeah, I agree with
So
that.
I like to jump around a lot and throw what I call plot twists.
There are
in there all the time.
There are definitely some plot twists on the record,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
And play around with the tempos too in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't like being. Although right now I am doing an experiment, but it's top secret, and it does have to do with keys.
That's true, and it's cool.
And it sounds really fucking cool.
Yeah, that's the thing about our
Ancient
writing is
secrets
that
I've discovered.
that's the thing about our writing is that though some of it is planned out, it's not super like mapped specifically like this is all going to be in, you know.
Yeah, I know. Here we go, A minor. Like, let's do it.
Yeah,
It's like,
and I think that's why our music
like
ends up being a little, you know, in the prog experimental space.
Yeah. Because that's how I roll.
That's how Naveen rolls. And I think
No rules,
you know,
baby.
Yeah.
Just fucking go for
Ain't
it.
no rules up in here. We do have like a 7.5 minute song on the record. That's the longest one.
It's arbitrary.
That's true. It's like age.
We're like, this is a song.
It is a song for sure.
Technically, the whole album's a song if they all blend into each
Yeah.
other.
It is all a song. Yeah. It's all a song.
I think of it as, well, it's two songs. That's how I think of it.
I used to think of it that way, but then I started thinking of it all as a song.
Any
I
more
guess
questions?
that'll be up for people to decide.
All right.
All right.
Well, I think we've covered it.
I really think we have to.
That was a good
I don't
album
think that there's
episode.
much more to talk about with the album. I mean, you know, we'll talk about stuff in the future. There'll be podcasts and interviews coming out. There's one that we just did on Metal Injection that'll be coming out, you know, magazines and all that stuff for the album. So yeah, we hope you guys enjoy it and have a fun time listening to it. Hopefully you have as much fun as we had writing it.
And definitely don't forget to check out that live video that we're putting out tomorrow. It comes out tomorrow, right?
No, Thursday.
Oh, Thursday.
Comes out on Thursday on Metal Blade's channel. And
We'll
if
be
you're at the
hanging out.
Knoxville show, you're in it. So much love, you guys. Can't wait to talk to you again in April. Have a good couple of months. Stay safe out there. We love you guys.
All right, see you guys. Peace.